Hi everybody, Grandma Bev here from Life with Grandma Bev, and welcome to my channel. Now, as you know, we just all got back from our 3-week exhausting trip. I think the only ones that got any sleep were Trent, Fanny, and the baby. Now, this video is kind of an intro to all the little videos I took with them in it, so they'll have their own video. They won't pop in places like when we went on excursions to different towns because they just want to stay home and sleep most of the time. But if you watched my Heathrow humiliation video, you'll know that they were in my bag that got totally taken apart, and they were in there. Thank God they weren't doing something that shouldn't be seen. Whew. I mean, they could have gotten arrested, you know. So anyway, they mostly slept, but a lot of that was because the baby was really too young to go on this trip, you know. But they were fine, all three of them. I have no problems taking them on trips with us, you know. I mean, they're good kids. Kids to me because they're a lot younger than I am. So you may have to turn your sound up quite a bit on some of the little excerpts coming up, because like in the plane and stuff with the background noise, it was harder to hear me talking, but I did talk, you know that, so you might have to turn your volume up here and there. And as far as souvenirs, they got all kinds of postcards from the different places we went. So whoever gets them next, I've got to find out who that is, if they're going to be together now or if they're going to continue on now separately like they were before, or if they're now considered a couple. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this. We sure enjoyed having them. And afterwards, please make a comment, share, like, and subscribe. And can you guys say hi? Hi. Hello. Oh, they've gotten a lot more risque. So, stay tuned. Well, we are on our way, and Fanny and Trent are so excited. There's a ferry over there, and it's their first time being on a Washington State ferry. So, this is the beginning of the trip. You can see we got the big smile on his face. Oh, yeah. So when we get further out in the water, I'll have them come back on again. Put them down. Beautiful day out. Well, and so far, our flight is only running an hour late. So we'll see. Well, the mountain is showing today. That's Mount Rainier. And I've got to get it while we're still heading this direction. So we're going to be turning shortly. Isn't that beautiful mountain? Sorry this is wiggly, but I'm sitting there in the car on the ferry. What do you think, Trent? Oh, he loves it. He's a photo bomber. We'll be back shortly. Okay, I am going to go up to the front of the boat to get pictures of the city ahead of us. Now, Trent and Fanny don't want to come with me because they're afraid they might fall in the water. So I won't be talking while I'm up there because it's really windy and I don't think you'll be hearing me. So I'll be right back. got all through security check, and these two were pretty good. I told them that either they had to wear a mask or they'd have to go inside a bag. So they opted to go in the bag. So now we just got something to eat. I thought cheesy fries sounded good. Look at them. They just got that fake cheese thrown on top of regular fries. I thought they'd be some kind of fries, you know, with cheese. And that was $5.99. And my drink was $2.99. So I was glad these two aren't hungry. Bob got a big thing of onion rings. So we have, what do we have, about 4 hours, honey, or 5 hours? Kind of.
4 hours.
Yeah, we have about 4 hours to board the plane. So
3 hours to board.
3 hours to board. So we're just going to sit here, take our time. So far, these two are being very good. I was kind of nervous going through checkpoint that Trent might do something weird, but he didn't. Well, we're up in the air now. And I had to separate them. They were getting a little snippy with each other. I think they spent too much time in my carry-on bag together. And kind of fighting a little. So, hoping they'll settle down. So far, they've been very good. Haven't had to really feed them much. But Trent mentioned that he hopes we don't get airsick or that a bunch of turbulence. And now Fanny is all freaked out, worried that she or the baby will get airsick. So I'm hoping pretty soon, being as small, what time is it? It's about almost 9 o'clock here, though it's still bright out. I'm hoping that they will just sleep for the whole rest of the night. They'll be back on shortly. Look at these cute little cans. They're cute. They're only, let's see how many ounces, but they're tiny. They're the perfect size for Fanny and Trent. And then they gave us pretzels for Fanny and Trent. I'm just going to drink out of here, but the other two get these. We'll be back. Well, we're going to land in about 20 minutes or so. And, not eventful night. The poor baby got sick and blew up, but Fanny's such a good mother. She grabbed the mom and bag and took care of it all. And Trent slept in the whole thing. Typical daddy. We're going to sign off on this flight. Probably won't come back on it until later with the Trent and Fanny story. So we'll talk to you later. Trent and Fanny have really been enjoying this route, but he doesn't want to get too close to the window because he's afraid he'll fall out. See? But Fanny has been such a good, attentive mama to her baby. So they've been getting along really well. We gave them some time alone today. Maybe we shouldn't have, but we did. So we just got back now, and they're sitting here in the window. I have Trent and Fanny in my bag here because they're just freaked out by the crowds. I mean, it's constant movement. I mean, it's so overwhelming. So I did find one chair to sit on because the line we got in, we found out we weren't supposed to be in it yet. So we got to go back through it again once our time comes up. So they say get here 90 minutes ahead of time, but then what do you do once you get here, right? So we will be back after a while. Well, Fanny and Trent have come out of the bag. Thank God they didn't have to pull out their passports and go through the checks. Oh, my God. Talk about a zoo. They were afraid they might keep them. So they fit in our cup holders right now. So maybe that's where they'll ride the train through. Well, we are now on our way on the riverboat. I was starting to say we're at sea, but we're not really at sea. What would we say? We're at river? I don't know. Look at these two. They're just looking so happy together. Look at that. They like the boat because this is a big window and they can see out it and don't have to go near it because, you know, Trent's worried that they'll fall overboard, so we'll just let them enjoy themselves. Well, today we are pulling into Cologne, Germany. And most of this way has been, let's see the beach? Well, the kids, aka Trent, Fanny, and the baby, decide they don't want to go into Cologne, look around. They want to go over onto the beach and get some sun and just relax. So I guess that's what they'll do today. What do you think, kids? Well, look who we have here. It's the two kids with the baby. They wanted to come outside again. Now that we're almost at the end of the cruise, they finally decided they wanted to come outside. So we brought them out to have them in front of the boat. This is the Avalon Visionary. And see, in one of the little excerpts I did, it talked about how we had to change boats. And oh my God, these two were just freaked out. They didn't know what was going on. So they finally settled down. I'll put them down here on the bench. And I'll take this camera from Bob and I'll show you the rest of the boat. Oh, now some people are coming in view. So here they are. Now they're sitting on the bench. You know, they look tanner. I think that Trent is looking pretty tan. But Fanny is just pink as can be. I'll turn her around. There we are. Look at those two. Aren't they just precious? All right, now I'll get back on. Now the people pass by. There we go. So that's the boat. So, you'll have to, I hope you listen to this whole tape so you can hear what happened as to why we had to change boats partway through the cruise. So, this isn't the end for us though, because when we get off this tomorrow, we're going to go to the town of Lucerne in Switzerland. And we'll kind of be on our own there, like we were in the beginning of the journey. So, I'm going to sign off here from, we're on the German side, right? We're on the Germany side of the Rhine River. And this morning we went into the town of Colmar, France. Beautiful little storybook fairy tale little town that they hold a lot of their Christmas things in. So it was cool this morning, but the sun finally came back. So let's see. We started out this morning walking that way. And now we're back here. So we're gonna go back inside, and the kids want to take a nap again. So they've done a lot of them on this trip. Hi. Boy, we have had quite a day. As soon as we got back, these two they jumped on the water glasses and said, "Give us some water, Grandma." So anyway, as most of you probably heard through the news, the Rhine River has gotten very low in areas. And I have other videos where I've shown that. But today, because of the low water, we had to change ships or boats. These aren't ships, they're boats. So we were on the Avalon Imagery 2, and we had to pack everything up back in our suitcases, of which these two were freaked out. They thought that it was the end of the vacation already. And then they loaded us on buses, everybody's luggage, loaded us on buses, and we rode for about over an hour or so to the town of Rudesheim, where they were going to put us on another small boat, they said, that would be going up and down the part of the Rhine where the bigger boats couldn't go. So we got there. It was a day, I think, that wasn't at 100 degrees. It was 100 degrees. We'd get off the bus and cross the street, and the guide says, well, you have 15 minutes to look around this town. It's like, what? That wasn't enough time for Trent and Fanny, you know? Especially with Fanny still carrying that baby all around of hers. What'd you say, Trent? Oh, he says he offers to carry it, but Fanny says, no, I'm her mother. So we stood there in the hot sun. We see a boat that the gal said we were going to get on, and it's just chock full of people. We're like, what the heck? We thought we were going to be the only ones on this boat. So why did we come all the way opposite direction of the boat just to stand around waiting for her to lead us back to where we had been to get on the boat? Does that make sense? Well, trying to explain it to these two. Oh my gosh. So we finally walked back. It was so packed full of people that I had hoped to take pictures of all the castles on the Rhine. I mean, I did manage to take some, but not all of them, because it was full of people. It could hardly find a place to even sit. So I did what I could. So that's going to be a separate video. But I'd say all in all, these two were real troopers. We finally got back up the other end and got back on the bus, and then rode all the way to Strasbourg, France. So they were thinking, ooh la la, we're gonna honeymoon in France. Now you're wondering, did they get married? Well, I'll leave that up to your imagination. You know these two. So up in Strasbourg, we got back on a ship, but this one is called the Avalon Visionary. So as we pulled up, here's most of the staff standing outside, lined up waiting for us, because they knew we'd been through hell. And we get on the boat, we come in here, and the room's exactly the same, just the coloring's different, but we got all settled. But now, I'm going to have to get off in 2 days to go over to Lucerne, so I just don't know. Are you guys tired yet? Huh? Oh, he says that Fanny is the one that's tiring him out, and she says that he's tiring her out. So I don't know. So we'll let these two be alone for a few more minutes. Bye. Well, here we are, folks. Probably the last part of their Europe vacation. Trent and Fanny haven't really gone on too many of the excursions with us because they wanted to be left alone. But I told them, I am not a babysitter, so your baby is staying with you. But anyway, it's like Trent's been a different person towards me since he's got Fanny around. It's like, I can't do anything right. He gets mad at me for every little thing, you know. I think he's just trying to show off his machoism to Fanny. Right, Fanny? Anyway, yesterday he was so upset. Number one was because we were getting off the cruise boat. It was our last day. We arrived in Basel, Switzerland, and we were going to do what they call a post extension, which is you pay extra to go stay in a hotel in Lucerne, Switzerland, for 2 nights. And we were also supposed to go up to Mount Pilatus, which it said, you know, the van would pick us up and would take us to Mount Pilatus. And so I pictured, you know, windy roads going up to the top of this 7,000-foot mountain. Fanny started freaking because she was afraid the baby would just get, you know, projectile vomiting. And of course, Trent's going to go along with what Fanny says. So he requested again that we pack them in our carry-on bag, which I did, because, you know, I'm trying to please the man. So we're riding along to Lucerne. There's only like 6 of us in the little van. And it's just like we're on just freeway. And I thought, this is Switzerland? What was so special about this, right? And he didn't seem to be getting off the freeway to go to the mountains. So Fanny pulls into this area and he says, okay, we all get off here. Now, mind you, the whole way, the man driving never said a word, and there wasn't a tour guide with us. So we pulled to this spot, and there's a tour guide, and she welcomed us there, and she pointed across the street, and here was this big, well, not real big, but I'm doing a separate video on it. It's a tram going up the hill to Mount Pilatus, but that we couldn't leave our carry-ons just in the bus, or the little van, because the driver was going to go pick up somebody else. So we had to put our carry-ons in with our luggage, the luggage that was underneath the van, because they said it would be too much for us to carry. So I thought, well, okay, so we put it under there thinking, whatever. Oh my God, they missed the best trip going up the hill, up to the mountain. I mean, it was foggy down where we were, but once we got past the fog, oh, it was beautiful. You have to watch the video on it. So he was mad at me, meaning Trent, because I didn't tell him that we were going to be going up the hill. Fanny is relieved because she was afraid, the baby would get scared. She knew she'd get scared, but, Trent's been in this machoism phase ever since he got back with Fanny. So, after we went up to the top of the mountain, we were up there for a couple of hours. So in the meantime, they were just brought to a hotel and dropped off somewhere in our carry-on bag. And then after we went to go down the hill, it was in a big bubble kind of thing. When I edit this, I'll put what it was. For about 3 minutes of the ride, and then we got into one of those little aerial ones, like when you go skiing. Another brain fart here. And that one, Bob and I got to have our own little cage to ourselves. So it would have been perfect to have had the Trent family with us. Oh, he's giving me a dirty look now because I said that. So we got Fanny down to the end of the hill. I mean, because that took up about 3 hours at least. And then our guide took us on a long walking tour, which I hadn't expected either, Trent. So I didn't have my walking shoes on. I hadn't taken any preparation for the back pain that I was going to experience, and the hip pain and the leg pain. But I survived, and we finally ended up here at the hotel, which all I had to do was open my big mouth and say, supposedly this is a haunted hotel, and Fanny freaked. So they wanted to just stay in the room. Didn't even want to go back out. I did get them to go in the window here today so I could do this video. That's the problem when you travel with people that you haven't really traveled with before. You never know how they're going to react to things. So, and this has been 3 weeks of us all being together. Anyway, we have to get up at 2:15 in the morning tonight, so we're going to be all packed up again tonight. 2:15 for a taxi to take us to an airport in Zurich, where we will hang around for about 5 or 6 hours until our flight from London to our flight to London, which only takes about a half hour or so, will take us to London, and there we'll sit about 5-6 hours waiting for our flight from London to Seattle. So they said they plan on sleeping because they're going to be tired from not really sleeping during the night tonight. So we'll let them do that, and then when we get home to our house, we'll do a finishing little video or comment vlog of what they thought of their trip. So this is Grandma Bear saying we'll be back, not tomorrow because we'll be flying, but maybe Thursday, Friday. I don't know when I get around to editing all these tons of videos I've done. So I love you all. We will be back.